let's dive into the icky sticky porn issue because I want to share this. Like I talk to people like Amy, like I talk to parent educators and I talk to child development people all the time for this podcast. And you know what happened to us? And I've got a like a super tech savvy, like computer programmer husband who I thought had put some blocks and things on our devices. And then, so one summer day, I think my daughter was 8 or 9, I had my window open. I was doing a mindful parenting coaching call, membership coaching call, and she heard me say spanking. And then she went inside and looked up
No,
spanking.
I'm
And
sorry.
guess what happened? She came up. So my husband has an office inside and he with windows, and he looked over to the window and saw her watching some porn. And she was just like shocked and like, "Oh my God." And he stopped his meeting and like went over and talked to her and asked if she was okay. And we talked about it and blah blah blah. But this can happen. It's so easily available is what I wanna say, like, for the best of us, don't don't make assumptions on this. This is what I have to say, but I'm sure you're obviously nodding your head and agreeing here. So fill us in on what's going on in the world with this, Amy.
So what you just described is exactly how kids are being exposed. I have a couple that came in because their daughter Googled horses and made her way to porn.
Oh, man,
Or, I mean,
horses.
if you're bored, Google horses, go to images, scroll down till you see a horse with an erect penis. You cannot unsee things. Click on that, scroll down some more. You will end up in porn within 4 clicks. I just did this because I
Wow.
a ranty newsletter about porn because I was like, I want to see how quickly I can get to porn. And I followed she was 7. I followed my 8-year-old. My 8-year-old did all the work. 7-year-old did all the work. So kids aren't being exposed necessarily because they're searching for porn terms, because they're looking for sex. So spanking. Wait, she's like,
Mhm.
oh, spanking. All right, what is that? Okay, I haven't remembered because I bet you probably, I mean, maybe the one time you spanked, like like the best of us, right? Or whatever. Like you don't spank your kids, right? You don't um
She has zero exposure to
yeah.
that at
Yeah.
all.
So she's
So,
like, "Oh,
yeah.
what's that?" Right? And so she gets in there and checks it out. So that's the first thing is it's happening innocently. Um and then not every kid rabbit holes. Not every kid goes down the rabbit hole. Not
Mhm,
every kid repeat uses.
mhm,
But the deal is that it is not your child's responsibility to be safe online.
mhm,
It is not their job. Absolutely not their job. It is a requirement, and I am like no BS here. Like if you take any, I know we've traumatized you, but if you take anything away from our conversation today, it is this: you must have parental controls and monitoring installed on every single device your child can access the internet on. And it's the seatbelt of the internet. I'm pretty sure you would never let your kid get in the car without putting their seatbelt on. It's not safe, right? It is not safe to let your kid out on the world wide web, right? You can get anywhere. You can see anything. You can look up how to commit suicide, right? Like you can look up grisly car crashes. Like there's awful stuff out there. And so as your kids get older, they're going to search for like penis enlargement or like whatever, right? Or boobs or butts or whatever. So they're going to end up there. It is like I looked at the encyclopedia and we looked up words, right? We found like our bodies ourselves, we were poring over that. We saw porn mags like Playboy or whatever. Like we didn't have this opportunity. I know if I was living right now as as a kid or an adolescent, um, I would be right there. I would have been right there, Googling all this, looking at the porn. And so there's a product called Circle. We'll put it in the show notes. Get $20 off for using my special link. I get a little kickback too. Because they, it, they aren't going to necessarily search it out. But if they do, you need to know. So some folks don't know the difference between monitoring and parental controls. So monitoring is watching. You're watching where they're going. Circle is really great. There's an app. It tells you where they're going. You get a ping if they search for something that's troublesome or if they see something that's troublesome. Parental
mm,
controls are the blocking. So you block terms. The younger they are, the tighter the controls. Gets a little complicated as they get older because they need to have access to different things just for school and that kind of thing. But
Or
by
if you
the
have
time
multi-age household, like if you have a
multi-age
5-year-old
households,
and a 14-year-old.
right? It's complicated.
Yeah.
It gets complicated. But by the time they are like seventh, eighth grade, you can take all the parental controls off, but you're still monitoring, so they can go anywhere they want. When Milo was in the seventh grade, he was having an adolescent fit because of a variety of things. But one of the things he was mad about was that we had monitoring on the computer and his devices. And he said, and I hate it because I can only go to 3 to 5 websites because I know you're watching. And I was like, yes, indeed. I said, yeah, I can see how frustrating that would be. And then I ran downstairs and found my spouse. And I'm like, Carrie, it's working. Because that's what we want, right?
High five.
High five, right? We want them to flex that muscle of self-control. And so I don't know, like everybody says, oh, my kid would never, not my kid. It's just wrong. Your kid, your kid, your kid. And if not your kid, then some other kid, a kid at your house is going to comes over to your house and is like, hey, check this out. On the school bus, like kids show each other stuff. You know, it's everywhere. It's instantly accessible. And it is not your child's job to be responsible for their online safety. So I just want to talk about the school computers right now, just for a few minutes. You have to check them because the monitoring can fall off. The parental controls can go sideways. This is happening not all the time, but you need to spot check. So get on your kid's computer and Google sex, Google boobs, Google spanking, and see where you can go. I had one family call me because their son had moved and he was accidentally logged into his mom's Gmail or whatever Google account. And so he figured that out, and kids are going and fooling around where they're supposed to be in school. His dad, after they figured out he was watching porn during school, and he was bouncing back and forth. And this is really shocking. He was 9 and he had about 70 hours. He'd seen about 70 hours of porn since September.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that was just a mistake, right? Wrong account. So I don't mean to terrify you, but
This might be healthy terror for us.
a healthy terror, and I am just so sorry. This is all so hard right now. But this is something I bet that's in the back of your mind that's like, oh, are they okay? Are they okay? Are they okay? And if you've done everything you can to make sure they're safe online, then you can take that down a notch. The worry, as you know, Miss Mindful, that worry, that little neggling thing, it sucks your soul.
Yeah.
And this is a soul sucker. And maybe this entire episode is a soul sucker.
No. This is a wake-up call for all of us. I mean, I'm gonna be going in and doing that test. I mean, that sounds really like very smart and very practical again, Amy. You know, like go in and see where you can get with your kids' stuff.
Right.
Yes.
And then if you can get all kind of places, make sure they're logged into their account, and then tell the school district, tell the school, I hopped on, I spot checked, and I went and saw some great looking butts, like, or whatever. And it's harder as the kids are older because they need to be like in high school and stuff. They need to go go places to learn stuff. So yeah, so that's one thing, but let's just take a minute. I know we're sort of talking forever.
Let's take a deep breath.
Let's take a breath again, because I have some help. I have help. There are 2 books. They're called Good Pictures, Bad Pictures. There's Good Pictures, Bad Pictures Junior, and then Good Pictures, Bad Pictures, I call it Senior, that are about how to about pornography. They're for kids, how to handle porn exposure, what porn can do to, hearts and minds and brains when it comes to sexuality. It's got tips for what to do when they're exposed. So for example, really simply just say to your kids, like, hey, if you're ever online and you see any videos or pictures of naked people, or if your older kids, like say people having sex, that is not okay or safe for you to see. It can really mess you up when it comes to like sex and sexuality. So the rule is you need to stop watching, turn off the device, come find me or other safe adult and let me know. You won't be in trouble. You won't be in trouble. This kind of thing happens. So they just need that step by step by step.
Catch new episodes of the Mindful Mama podcast and other free resources, including the Mindful Mom Guide, at mindfulmamamentor.com. You can listen to every back catalog episode, including interviews with Dr. Dan Siegel, Ianla Van Zant, Sharon Salzberg, and get meditations, join our private Facebook group, and more. Go to mindfulmamamentor.com now. I'll see you there.